guy, you know. And I said, well, I think they want to make you, you know, a heel here, so you need to play that up a little bit, you know. And he had a couple of things to say, and after a while, you have to start making stuff up. And I said, you know, this guy is so mean that he doesn't even like himself and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I really had a wonderful, wonderful time. And because of my inadequacies, I'll be a, you know, stand-up guy again and admit that, you know, they a couple of times they had me walk off, which was not my idea, you know. And the first time I walked off the set, threw my headset down, left the Taz, you know, hanging in the lurch.
Hey guys.
And then, you know, the following week I came out and made an apology and said that I just couldn't stand all the heckling that was going on behind me. They said some things about my mother that I found, you know, despicable and blah, 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 blah. And then I actually got accepted. The responses for me had kind of changed, and I went from sort of a heel to a babyface announcer, if they have things like that. Just the whole experience was, I wish I had to do it over again, because now I know some things about how it all works, and I'm not sure that I'll ever get another chance, but I've got nothing but great things and great memories from the WWE.
Do you want another chance? Would you like to go back?
Oh, I'd go in a heartbeat. You know, hey, you know what? When you play professional football, and you do it in high school, if you're any kind of athlete at all, you've been knocked down, not once, not twice, but hundreds of times. And you get out of the game when you don't want to get off the canvas anymore, you know? So I got knocked down to the canvas a couple of times, but I want to get up, and I'd like to, you know, throw a few punches again. You know, my greatest regret is that I was never able to get into the ring, you know. I wanted to be choke slammed a couple of times. I always had a pair of tights on underneath my dress suit every single show that I did, on the off chance that I was going to get a shot inside the ring. You know, they did it with Coach. They did it with Cole. You know, I wanted a shot at somebody. I wanted somebody to beat the tar out of me. I wanted to get into the square circle. You know, I just thought that was going to happen, and I never got that chance. And I figured they might give it to me, given the fact that I was a professional athlete at one time, and I still take great care of myself. I was ready. I was always ready, and I'm sorry that didn't happen.
Well, indeed, friends, we're on board with the one and only Mike Adamle, former Raw general manager, and, of course, one of the former voices of World Wrestling Entertainment on the Monday Night Mayhem radio network. I believe we have a call on the Mayhem line. Caller, your name and where you're calling from. Welcome to the fall season premiere of your home of wrestling radio. Has the caller hung up? I believe that they're not patient tonight, Blade. I think they're actually, most importantly, paying more attention to the Bills and the Patriots. Well, again, fans, if that was you that just called in, it looks like that the lines are flooded for Mike Adamle, 877-666-2110, option 1 for the Mayhem line, of course. Mike, if you want to use the term baptismal by fire, of course, you can compare it with one of two things. Debut night, Madison Square Garden, Royal Rumble, 20,000 hardcore screaming fans, millions of people watching around the world on pay-per-view, and taking the torch from Joey Styles as the voice of ECW. What did you think was the most intimidating of the two, and why?
Again, I got to spend a little bit of time before I actually started, and one of the guys who befriended me right away was Joey Styles, and I knew who he was, and I knew that he liked doing, play-by-play. I don't think he particularly cared to go into the .com business for WWE, but he, being the consummate professional, did exactly that. And again, I kept being put into roles that I didn't necessarily feel comfortable with because of the fact that I had forged a friendship with one, JR, and two, Joey.
Now, Mike, obviously with a lot of the ECW fans, they're very passionate, they're very loyal, they're very rabid. People that have been paying attention to ECW for a lengthy period of time, the two ECW products are both night and day, and more or less it's just the letters that still remain from the original promotion. Paul Heyman wrote a very interesting column, if you want to use the term, back last April in the UK Sun.
Interesting is not the quite word. Inflammatory was, degrading. It was a degradation kind of article, and he was right. He's entitled to his opinion, and I always wanted to talk to him in person just to tell him that a lot of the things that he said are right on, and I always believed this too. This was one of his favorite sayings, was that successful people are the ones who don't fear failure. People who fear failure and won't embrace it, those people aren't necessarily successful. But if you meet fear head on and handle it for what it is, that you're a better person, and you should adopt that philosophy for anything you do in life. So I have no problems with him. I have no problems with any of the criticism that I received. I think much of it was warranted. I realize that the fans. Let me say this about the fans. I've never, you talk about people who are in these, these different fantasy leagues and professional football, and guys who've been around it for years and years and years. Any professional sport, and I will take professional wrestling fans as the most knowledgeable about their sport, and it's not even close. So you could mispronounce somebody's middle name and get raked over the coals because of it. But what Paul had to say, most of it I think was right on. He was entitled to it. I know that he, and Vince parted in a very acrimonious way, and a lot of it was because he was not in the mainstream anymore. But that being said, I respect him greatly, and again, people are entitled to say their opinions. I mean, I've gone online with the people that said I'm a member of the I Hate Mike Adamle Club. I would write them back or email them back. I mean, it's okay. It's all okay. I've been everywhere, every place, done everything. The good Lord has blessed me greatly, and even though this didn't work out the way I wanted it to, my short-lived tenure with the WWE couldn't have been better. The guys that I met, from Randy Orton to Triple H to the Hardy Brothers, they rolled out the red carpet from day one, and if anything, I'm sorry I let them down because they became friends along the way.
Mike, in July, of course, Shane McMahon announced that you were the brand new general manager of Raw, and I got to say probably one of the more successful portions of your WWE career was that, and of course, there was the infamous coining of the phrase Adamle Originals. Since then, obviously, the WWE has adopted the guest hosts, shall we say, of Monday Night Raw on a weekly basis. There were even some internet rumors that were speculating it was down to two people for last week's Raw, Bob Barker or Mike Adamle. And right. I guess for some people, Mike Adamle sort of won in that particular aspect. What was your reflections on being the general manager of Raw? And was there any truth to the speculation of you being contacted and brought back in as a guest host for Raw in your now hometown of last week?
There was, I'm always ready for anything that may happen. Bob Barker obviously was, I thought that he was, well, he did. He I don't know who he slapped, but he did slap somebody. I just saw the first half of it because I was actually there because A.J. Przinsky was, who's a huge wrestling fan, was there, and since we cover the White Sox here on a daily basis, we went and did a little story on them. I don't think anybody knew I was here, and I didn't want to upstage anything, and I just didn't, make my presence felt backstage or anything, but I wasn't contacted. Do I expect to be contacted sometimes in the future? I have no idea, but if it happened, I would love it.
And I believe now we do have a call on the Mayhem line, 877-666-2110, of course, toll free. In the process, we'll foot the bill, your name, where you're calling from. Welcome to Monday Night Mayhem, the